Hey guys, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? So, it's been an interesting couple days. There seems to be a lot of biofeedback right now around exhaustion. So, there's a large pocket of the collective feeling pretty tired right now. And it seems to be, there's a lot of fog people are describing, like a mental fog. Um, a sense of peaceful groundedness, but there again, some exhaustion. So, and I've described this sort of exhaustion. I do put it into like this spiritual awakening, like symptoms or whatever. But there again, you could just put it in a very real perspective as far as often when we've been well indoctrinated by the system, we spend years, potentially decades, treating our bodies like machines. And when we awaken to our truth, which means we're awakening to more of our natural cycles, that there's a recalibration alongside the atonement, the karmic energetic transformation when we own our reality. That atonement also affects the physical body in waves. And sometimes in waves, we get floored by exhaustion. And the way I see it is that energetically, especially en masse now, we're moving so quickly that, um, yeah, the awakening's happening and flooring people. So the quickest and best way to integrate energy is to sleep it off. I noticed a huge acceleration and a drop into myself when I permissioned myself to just basically sleep whenever I wanted, without resistance, without guilt, because for a lot of my sort of childhood into adolescence and adulthood was feeling just guilty all the time, like guilty for wanting to have sex, guilty for wanting to sleep, guilty for being tired, guilty, just that's what a lot of us are out working as a collective. We're actually working out. So, based on the core wound of separation, right there around the core wound is all this shame and guilt because we're like, ah! We're living in sin. We're living in total effing fear of like, oh my god, I'm separate from my God. That's not true. That's just not true. It's like it's smoke and mirrors. It's all an illusion, right? Hey, you guys. Hi, Alan and Jazz. How are you? Mallowood. Hi, Golden Heart. Hi, Alan. Not too shabby. I like to hear that. Same. Like yeah. I'm having to like it's a bizarro land over here because there's like another reconfiguration happening and I'm kind of like stepping back from certain things and then well, it's fair. I'm seeing like another pattern, but then actually it was about 3 or 4 different patterns within one and like everything is shape shifting. So I'm having to get used to like quite a different way of operating and it's kind of destabilizing. However, it is healthy and it's like the way it should be, I suppose. I think sometimes when you've been used to manipulation and control, you're like, so people aren't trying to manipulate me anymore? No, because you're sniffing out people's BS before they have a chance to. And you're like, ah. And then plus there's no like kissing of arses and there's no ego. It's just straight down the line. This is me, this is you, this is how you know what I don't know. I don't know what I'm even saying right now, but maybe it's relevant to somebody here. So I want to talk about unplugging. It's partly because what day are we on? Like April something. So I basically once I launched Vegan Love, we Ultra Love has these 4 pillar of Be the Change online course series, which are all just like practical changes, with the spirituality simplified course, which is my own filter with all the spirituality woo woo whatnot whatnot. um and after launching Alta Vegan Love, which really came together miraculously, I've taken the month off. Basically, I've in such a way I've taken April off for my own self to just, yeah, well, live life and just not be focusing on creating a course, right? And then actually, now that we're heading toward the end of the month, I'm starting to get the kind of download. And I don't think it's by chance that I just out of nowhere, I kind of went off YouTube, or rather, hi YouTube. I'm not on you anymore. Facebook. I went off of Facebook, and this time it feels legit. It feels real. I do gots to say that I get notified if All to Love, the biz page, um, has a message, but not responding. I'm just like, I've said on the profile, like, I'm not responding to messages, and I'm just phasing out my social media time, because in my heart of hearts, it all feels like more smoke and mirrors. It feels more like running on the treadmill or running on the hamster wheel, or another, like, hey everybody, follow the American dream over here now. Like, now that everyone's sniffing out the bull from Hollywood and MK Ultra, let's steer everybody down this way of the social media gurudom, celebrity worship, and distraction ultimately. And now the reason I'm saying this is like, what is it all distracting us from? Well, our own inner peace, of course. Like, the ability to actually drop into the heart of your truth, and like live there and be at home there and be totally in trust and faith there. But, and of course, sometimes we have to go around in circles a few times to actually acknowledge the peace that does truly reside in the heart space, and that all of us, every single one, can actually just live there. And it's a discipline, just like anything. And I find that I too am seeing things more quickly, going around, and then changing the story about how I choose to show up in this world, and how I what I so part for me as the empath as well, and this might resonate with some of you, in fact probably a lot of you in this community. um we don't have to be always giving to receive. And I'm not, again, this it's a there's a subtlety here. It's we really can be who we are in joy. We get to um be our truth and our joy, and we don't have to um be slaves. We don't have to perpetually give to belong here. I suppose I want to say. The manipulation started from birth. Yep. Oh, hi, Love and Grace. How are you? Hey there. It's so autumn. It's like wild, because I am almost certain there's another lovely chica here who has the name Gracious Love, and I think of you often when she pops up. And then, like, two shares ago, I think Gracious Love was there, and it made me think of you. And then I was like, oh, but that weren't Love and Grace. That was Gracious Love. And now you're here. So there's definitely a lovely connection. So you guys, this whole share is really just about my slowly unplugging from mainstream, and, well, slowly unplugging from social media. Those of you who hang out here know that I've been unplugged from the mainstream media for almost 10 years now, consciously knowing intuitively, because I've been on this odd intuitive journey where I basically just listen to the inner voice and ignore everything else. however, it kind of works now. It's all sort of all the tides are turning around. Um, so yeah, I've I've not had an interest in the mainstream agenda for a while, and I noticed my mind and my heart just getting happier and more free by not associating with that media source. On top of the transition, as I became unplugged, I meditated. I really dove into my spiritual practice of meditation and yoga. And then the my what happened was that the yoga centered me and helped me become and then follow and trust my intuitive guidance in as far as my creative expression. And over the years, I've just been honing my ability to be en flow and be in my creative truth, whatever that might be in any given moment. And it is very en flow. It's quite, at this point, certainly sort of intangible and fluid when it comes to any process or any like rigidity around the heart. And yet in my awareness there are cycles, certainly patterns that I'm aware of. But just yesterday I was like, oh my god, the patterns are not even, they're not, like, it's always an energetic pattern, not like, and yes, the energy is bound to a thought form, but we have to be with the feelings to discern and then detach from thought. Usually if we're in denial of the feeling, we're not going to be present enough with the thought form, um, because they go together. If we're in denial of our feelings, we're not going to give ourselves an opportunity to notice the thought form that's vibrating in alignment with those sorts of feelings. And then if we can just sit with those feelings, we can explore the relationship that we have with them. Because a lot of times what I notice is that just people are frightened. It's a big pile of mess, like, just it's a whole bunch of feelings. Just stop the feelings kind of thing. And so we do any number of things, including talking, to avoid feeling what's there and owning ultimately what's there. It's not comfortable. That's why we resist it. And ultimately, we're undergoing mass change on a global level. And so we're experiencing as well mass resistance. Hola, Mike. How are you? Hi, Bruce. Scott. Yeah, MSN. I just, it's too much like random chit chat, especially someone who's done the like online stuff. But now I'm like, it's just more smoke and mirrors in my intuition. So I like, and this is, I say this with like a lot of love, straight up, but like after all these years on this guided path and having pioneered so much direction or help from other, but just like pioneered the journey in this sort of wild and radical sense. And then having learned all these different lessons about like people's points of attraction and like how where a lot of people operate from. And I just find Facebook to be a lot of sort of random messages and random, and after a while you're just like, it's not necessarily what it looks like. And I find it's just too much like repetitive. It's like 9 to 5 BS. It's just like, let's go round in circles. That's all. I'm gonna keep noodling with it, obvi, right? Because I'm noodling. Basically, I'm like, what's real? What isn't? What's the truth? What isn't? And how do we expand the truth of our beingness rather than the bullshit? And it's like, I'm pretty sure most of it is actually just bullshit, distracting us from like our inherent truth and peace. And so I'm like, whoa, even just coming off Facebook through this sort of recognition has been incredibly liberating for me. Mm. And without even trying, I've noticed myself just caring less about Instagram as well. I'm just like on all this less and less. And I got to say, it's just about having 2 feet on the ground more and more, like hanging outside or just like being with myself. um, enjoy though, Obvi, and like reading books and Hanging out with people. I also like have made a move where I applied to volunteer at something called the North Devon Hospice, which I thought it had something to do with cancer, but it doesn't, which actually pleases me because I actually think there's a lot of like distorted propaganda around cancer research as well, i.e., big pharma, i.e., the propaganda that keeps us sick rather than actually offers us the solutions. However, North Devon Hospice is actually totally in alignment with like something I feel that I can like serve as far as like, well, it's basically like my favorite charity shop across the road. And the women in there are just badass. One of them is a Scousa. She's from Liverpool. You guys know I lived in Liverpool for 6 years, 6.5 years. And they're just like these rockin' oldies. Like they just work their arse off volunteering. And like I got to go into like the main building in the main town yesterday and see what the volunteers and these all these different shops and stuff where that money goes to as far as like basically giving people maybe a deeper and more harmonious understanding of death and like and dignify it. Like this is a service to me that feels very like feminine, nurturing, like yeah, supporting people in love and like yeah, dignity before they go. And I just to me, a healthy society that is alive has to be a society that faces death. We have to understand death in a more kind of harmonious way, right? I was a CNA. Hmm. Hi, Julian. Hi, Matab. So, hospice caregiver. Are you? Oh my god. And again I had to stop myself from going like, "Yes, Revel." Boo, 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 boo. I when regarding the hospice when I was going in to meet one of the ladies, I like had to stop myself and be like, "Yeah, I'll come and do yoga and I'll do da, 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 da." And it's like, pace yourself as far as like this is nice. Like I get to go work the till for the ladies over there 11 years ago. Nice. And yeah, just be presence. That's really all this is, isn't it? Julian, mass weapons of mass distraction. Yeah, it's all so long as I'm chasing that, I'm not in my truth, I'm not in my reality, right? So I'm here to I'm here to just really express to you like life is good off of Facebook and I actually feel the clarity. Facebook sucks. In a hospice when she passed, it was powerful. Yeah, I realize now what a hospice is, and I just think that should be part of our natural kind of way, our vibration house of transition. Yeah, EMS teaches you life is forever. What's EMS? Yeah, it seems this empath community has like a natural understanding of dignified death and sacred death and birth. Yeah, this is it. The and it's like the to me as well, a graceful passing is just sans fear, like celebrating the life and like getting comfy and like it makes me a little emotion, but like getting ourselves comfy to be supported in like the next journey, the next phase and to just kind of celebrate. And there again, if we ain't living, then I think our death process is more corrupted because everybody, we do that. we squash getting old, we deny our life cycles, and then we resist death and like cripple ourselves to resist, hold on to life and resist the death. But again, we don't have that holistic perspective. Once we have that more holistic perspective, we can just be like, I'm out. I'm outie, and like off I go. And there can be a little bit more like just love, I guess, rather than fear. It comes down to that kind of simplicity, isn't it? Yeah, a golden heart. I have never been there with anyone. No one. I don't have a huge circle, and I've never had experience close passing, but my mother has, and I have friends who have, and it seems to be that the people I know who have been around death, that's basically what we're there to do, is just be there. And I have a couple friends whom I know, my mother included, who had that moment of like it's okay to let go kind of thing. Like basically just sharing with that being, rather than all the fear around like, no, don't go. You can't leave me. Like this of like when someone's ready, when when you're connected on the spirit self, you can feel, and you can usually see oftentimes when people are exiting, you could say, leaving their body. Sometimes the brief time I worked in a um like an old person's residency home doing yoga, you could you could just sort of sense it. And like dementia and Alzheimer's, I often feel intuitively that those illnesses are like people leaving, like their consciousness or their spirit or their oversoul is actually kind of not really present at all. And they might like tune in from time to time for like a visitation or a meal, or like something might kind of call them back, but mostly they're off, like hanging out with loved ones, or like going off in a memory or something like that. But hi, Darlene. Hi, sending you lots of love. You've been through a lot. How are you? That's a heavy duty clear out, isn't it? Yeah, big love for the loss, Darlene. It doesn't, and I got to say, as I'm talking about this, I'm not saying at all that this stuff makes it easier to go through the grief and loss process. It's like even with heartbreak and big transitions in our lives, like it's and there again, this is all part of it in a way. I just am somebody who's like, let's just let ourselves feel and be and grieve and let go. Let go of holding on to life, and instead allow ourselves to celebrate life in truth and in honesty. you know um where oops oh yeah, this is part of. Oh, hey, Jazz. Oh, Nelsters. Ooh, that's exciting. So yeah, so the other aspect of this share is like getting real, and why coming off of mainstream media and getting clear, and then eventually the coming off of social media. And all I'm expressing to you guys right in this moment is like what's actually happening in my reality, is that I'm thoroughly enjoying Facebook. I don't get a sense or desire that I'm ever going to want to go back to Facebook. And surprisingly, from that upliftment, I'm even getting a bit like, well, for Instagram, I'm just bored a little bit, and it's not proving to be effective in this small term, rather. And so I'm observing the self, and I'm observing interaction, and I feel as though the streamlining is going to continue until I'm really only focusing on the YouTube And the Patreon. I'm still working on the Patreon, you guys. So the couple of you that have signed up, so thankful. And who apologies. I'm like I will figure out how to continue to offer specialties for the Patreon people, but I'm navigating it, just being honest with you guys. So, the more real we get, i.e., like the Jedi Force is landing, rah, and our bare feet are on the ground, our sense of connectivity is totally in alignment with the truth of our knowing, we will continue to see like the resistance to change in the collective. So people on the kind of like other old paradigm stuff still digging in, and I'm also seeing a massive like energies colliding. I'm seeing regarding the 5G. And so the 5G has to continue to be a bit of a wake up call, right? Our hobbit feet on the ground. Yeah. Oh my gosh, and that is so relevant because in truth, and I know that I've mentioned the Tolkien stuff and the resonance with like Middle Earth and Shire folk, right? And so a lot of us, so some of us in these kinds of communities might be more active, i.e., you might go to protests, you might encourage congregation and affiliate yourself with certain organizations. That's totally fine. And then there's another pocket of us who are actually just guided to land. And then that's like the hobbits, like we're, yeah, feet on the ground, reconnect with food, make food, grow it, share it, plant medicine, gatherings, celebration, basically new earth activity, which is like peaceful, harmonious, abundant, cacao, excitement, fun, truth, love, joy, stuff that is in us, but it's like next level for some of us, right? I'm reading, you guys. Julian, I feel you. And any of us, I don't know if any of you guys have suffered like depression in your life, but there's a and or like suicidal tendencies and suicidal thought. There's definitely an energy about that with the sensitive and the highly sensitive empath. It's that like as in life is quite painful and intense, so that I definitely get that Julian basic be like, take me with you. Ah! As in there's as there's as real a connection to so-called afterlife and or eternal life as there is the physical life, right? So my weird life perspective is like, how fun! I'm in a body and I get to live, and I practice disciplining my mind so that life is more and more joyful rather than worse and worse and dark and painful, because there's a lot of that too. But then through greater awareness, we can start to direct our consciousness and make life a little bit more enjoyable and spread that out. Um, but in all honesty, sometimes life is super painful, and for a lot of us, we just don't want to be here. And so, anyway, yeah, I get that connection as well, Julian, of like you, you went, you left me, yeah. To die for lived equals Devo. 30 days of grapes kick depression so long. Ancient sacred plant medicine too. Thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed the mushrooms the other day, I gotta say. So I'm going to go through my notes. Entitled Privilege and Denial is in brackets around resistance to change. So, of course, those that think or feel that they have certain aspects of control via ownership, possession, whatever status, there's gonna still be a lot of kickback. This is actually connected, I think, to to social media, the getting real, this next layer of propaganda around 5G being totally fine when actually it's like imprinting total domination and control on the masses. But there's going to be a bit of a rubbing against the edge of that, and the entitled privilege and denial is still, it's like rugs are still being ripped out from underneath that stronghold, which is why a lot of us again are being guided to the land. And or it's like tiny houses, van life, basically removing ourselves from the grid of the banking system, and also like false economy basically. This is part of our getting really real in our heart space about what's our intention and how do we want to live. And I'm realizing increasingly I'm not really concerned about the chasing of the life out there. Therefore, social media doesn't actually play that much of a role anymore, other than just sharing from the heart, because this is fun for me because you guys are all here. I don't know. This is just another top I have from I buy. You guys know my zero waste fashionista vibrashe. That's another one. I've been unplugged for however long. I haven't been buying new clothes for probably around the same time. I Again, when I had my early awakenings, I knew it was all fucked basically. So I haven't really been buying into that as a way of being. I used to steal as well. I don't do that anymore. Actually, the yoga helped me realize like no, no, naughty Molly. Even if it's a big corporation, it's still not yours to take. I used to justify it, and like in my radical days, I'd be like stealth and go into like those high street brand shops and just like put stuff on and walk out and feel like I was some badass. But then again, over cycles and stuff, or just life in general, I was like, this isn't, as in, you don't need to do this, MJ. I stole a pair of boots. I remember walking into Topshop on one of those big like Piccadilly Circus or like Covent Garden. I don't know if you guys know, but there's like, what is this? Turmeric stained. What is this? Why is this making me laugh? Turmeric stained clothes are in fashion. I'm not turmeric stained, am I? But I got to say, how funny are you? Because I actually have a sweater that I got, like, I had curry and then I splashed the curry oil. And I don't know if you guys will be able, if you familiarize yourself. This is one of those like very American or maybe Canadian specialities, but like they don't have these in the UK, but my mom sends them to me for presents. I am in the UK. And so I like dab this, basically like a handheld stain remover. Like if you get any stain on any of your clothes, you can use this. And I used this. It still has the tiniest yellow marking. It was one of these like new sweaters. Anyway, I basically, yeah, I only shop and have only shopped secondhand. So I only ever buy things intuitively on eBay and charity shops. So I'm a gal who, like, if I visit a city, it's not like I'm ever going into the high street shops or like the normal brands. I'm always hitting up charity shops and eBay and stuff like that. Mhm. Bruce, this is stuff that I'm working on in physical and ethereal realms. It's like there's aspects to the self that we can actually revoke from those energetic entanglements, including things like Facebook, banking system, and government systems. So there's a invocation and a soul contract revocation that we can invoke as a soul to basically take our power back and reclaim our sovereignty, because a lot of the soul contracts that we have with a lot of these institutions are like cunning, covert, like read the small print. No, you fucking twat. Like, don't write the small print. Be legit. So it's more about us kind of claiming that sort of power as a soul and basically saying, you fucked it because you were trying to be covert and narcissistic, and that's really shitty. And the power of the Jedis, the power of the hobbits, the power of the light and love in our truth, that's going to shine down that corrupted energy. Now, I also am aware and know people on the physical who are doing a similar thing, but they're having to navigate it from within the self first. So they're doing this process for themselves where they have an actual documentation of reclaiming their birthright as landowners, basically people of earth, innocent people of earth who they like are here going, but this is my land, you don't own the land, like councils and banks or whatever, right? These people are finding and navigating because a lot of the distortion and the manipulation is in the language. Hey, I love you guys all big time too. Gotta fly. Bye, Jazz. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Susanna, Amanda, Spirit Windwalker. Have the vintage. Yeah, exactly. I do stumble upon the old vintage. Oh, Jazz! I would love to see you at your channel too, my friend. Have I subscribed already? I feel like that's a real thing I have done. Hey, look, I just put my phone on and there I am, live from New York. Or live from the UK, rather. So yeah, we're gonna still see a bit of resistance. I'll give you guys courage to always stand your truth. This is often useful session time as well if you're dealing with resistance and people around you. I um so and now we're really living in the age of responsibility. So thought slash feeling, those two, thought, feeling, responsibilities, and honesty, compassion, vulnerability, and acceptance. So via these roots, the more of us that claim our responsibility and shine the light via that self responsibility in our transformation, we then become the way via the honesty, compassion, and vulnerability and acceptance. This then en masse opens doors for forgiveness. So there's a whole bunch of cycles coming into completion whereby we are harmonizing and forgiving the past. It's forgiving the self denial from within and then shining light in the path of unity through forgiveness. We know and understand that if we deny the black hole sun and if we hold and maintain our own self hatred and grievance, then we perpetuate that outside of self. So, en masse, there's going to be a sweeping recognition of the forgiving of the self to all past grievances in division of culture, nation, races, classes. And this is actually one and the same in collapsing the system and integrating and grounding in new structures that uphold the evolution of our species, because this is a global shift, it's a paradigm shift, it's a mass global undertaking. It's far above and much deeper than anything we've known thus far, which is where a lot of us are being guided to share, because the knowing is innate in our beingness. It's not an external already prescribed knowledge. The knowledge isn't outside of the self. The knowledge is the truth of our beingness. And for whatever intuitive reason, we all know this intuitively and want to continue to reflect back that divinity to one another, to continue to encourage self to come out of itself, to release the truth of your expression, because that's our gift to the world, which we're doing. We are doing it. And then unplug for freedom. So I guess that's my cue to myself, is to unplug for freedom, is to share with you guys that there's space on the paragliding retreat. I've got a booking now for that, so it's definitely moving forward. I want to encourage you guys to come along. It's now only $699. I've dropped the price almost in half. Basically meaning there ain't really going to be a profit for all to love, but it means that I can, as long as I get like pretty much 5 bookings, it means that I can pay for the space and that we can all get together, go paragliding, do yoga for 5 days, and put our phones away and connect to nature and swim and heal. Imagine that. Can you imagine what it'd be like to just have, like, human interaction and earth interaction and no devices? No TV, no phone. This is and I keep having the image flash where I, like, have a little basket when you guys are come when you all arrive at the chalet, and then I have a little basket where I'm like, "Put your phones in here," and you like, "Ah!" Like, we put our phones away and then just see how we go, right? Like, actually ground and discuss and share stuff, right? So, I'm looking forward to that. That's in the French Alps, a place called Le Grand Bonon. And like donashe, it's where we go paragliding and we do yoga. It is perfect, right? No phone in sight. That's what the juice of life is. So yeah, Unplug for Freedom is the retreat that kind of culminates in my releasing of Unplug for Freedom, the 8-week course. And it doesn't surprise me that I'm streamlining my social media usage because over the last few weeks, with the increase of me creating products for All to Love, I I don't know. It's like it's all in alignment. I can just feel that with the final release of these four pillars of Be the Change, for me, there's like an up level of being the change. Hence my like straight up in my field, like it's almost solely focused on this land. That's like I know it's like coming to me, but I'm being called to it, and I'll like keep seeing our feet on the grass and space, like holding ceremony. And the part of being guided to the land is that it's earth work. So there's actual like vibrations and energies to be laid down as well to be kind of like for us to restore the body, the beingness from the hive or 5G distortion energy, which again imprints the conformity aspect of our old world. It's all too late. None of it actually has any grounding in the truth of it, and yet it's still um we still have to remain unplugged. That's the thing, is we still have to focus our energy on the new paradigm activities so that we can hold space for everybody as it continues to spin out of control. That's spinning out of control. The system of control and domination is unraveling because it never really was anchored here. It was again an illusion. So that illusion, because we are awakening to our power, where our vision is shifting, and that is basically uprooting that illusion to not be in dominion here anymore. Yeah, basically, Julian. So yeah, it's really that. It's all been guided as well. You guys, there is stuff on the website at La Femme du Soleil is the place where we're guided. And then working with clear vibrations in 2020 will be in Morocco, and then summer 2020 will be in Kauai. Um, just to do yoga together, basically, and play. So so yeah, if you're interested in coming to France, then get in touch. I'd love to have you. It'd be so great to meet in person. And we'll go paragliding. It's only 5 days. It's pretty sweet. It's all like vegan food and then paragliding. We'll probably go at least tandem paragliding once, and then the other days will be like yoga vibrashe twice a day, flow yoga in the morning, chill yoga in the evening, and then pool time and lectures and discussion like this. So there will be a transformational aspect. And usually, when people get together on retreat with me and have the yoga, it's transformational in and of itself. And can you imagine at this stage what it will be like to not be touching and being on our phones throughout the day? I'm incredibly excited because then I can see this transition into like I don't know. Although I'm like it's not me at all, but I'm like yes, Earth Mother. Like, just gardening, and I'm like, "Except I never garden," so I'm like, "Is that really gonna be me, or is that just some fucking imagination?" But I'm like, I'm still gonna do lots of yoga with people, right? That's cool, you guys. It would be so fun for you to come. Message me, let me know. I just want to get numbers in. So uh, make an offer and we'll see if we can make it happen, you guys. Hey, Tree Hugger Dave. I have mad respect for all of you. Hey, Banu, how are you, my friend? Yes. Um, yeah, so I basically part of the share was that I'm getting excited because I can feel the download for Unplug for Freedom, the course coming out, which most of us here are pretty much unplugged, but I wanna I don't know, we're gonna see how it comes through, but I wanna make it cool, but also pretty like hard hitting for people as far as like you can meditate your arse off, but if you're still bombarding your consciousness with fearful programming, it sort of defeats the meditation vibrashe. I'm like, if you want the meditation and the spirituality stuff and the awareness stuff to really take your life into those higher realms, as it were, you got to cut it out. You got to cut out the bullshit of 3D paradigm that would literally fix your consciousness in a place of fear and limitation and division. We're all separate and the war is coming to get you and everyone else is blah blah, right? Like all that shit. So once we wake up from that and start to get clear, and I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started on this peaceful, happy, abundant manifestation life. But it's also very different from what I imagined because the earnest of heart manifestation means like every aspect of our delusional separation consciousness is gonna get washed clean, i.e., ego death after ego death after ego death, and then also like the birthing of just a beautiful, humble heart, which is like more beautiful than anything we could ever conceive of or imagine. And the process is real. It's real for sure. I love it, Daniel's son. Me too, y'all. I'm like, or something miraculous will happen with our financial system, and all of us will have plenty to share around and like support one another. That's the legit truth, isn't it? Bruce, gotta go. Love you. Have an awesome day, my friend. Somebody asked me also at one point, you're in the UK, and I knew you were asking because it is insanely early. I woke up shortly after 1 o'clock, but I woke up at 11:30, and then I woke up at 1. But I went to bed at like 7:30 yesterday, so like that's the legit. I'm like, it's not. I'm not sleep deprived. I just have no rhythm around my sleep. So if I'm tired at 6, I go to sleep at 6, and then I wake up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, is it awake time? Do you think it's too early to share? Shall I go live? I shall go live, and then and then it's like 2 in the morning. But then it means that you guys, wherever you are in the world, you get to be with me, and I get to boom you, and it's fun. So yeah, that's it. I know what you mean. I left my healthcare job over vaccines. That's awesome. I know there's a whole bunch of big stuff happening, but well done you. Mad props. Mad props for this is it. It's like staying in the earnest connect. It's like a lot of respect as far as like standing. Sasha talks about it in Spirit Simplified of like you fix your point, like this is how I'm going to live my life, and we're not going back to the other, right? We need to make the choice. The choice is a fundamental structural vibrational shift from within the self. I've just on the journey here now, I'm just acutely aware of, wow, it's intense. It's a lot more intense than just think happy thoughts. There's these patterns and these cycles, and there's this interconnectivity, and there's this intuition and heart, heart awareness, and all these pieces put together make manifestation something totally unique, and yet we live in a conformist society which would have us believe that we're all just the same and we're meant to all want the same things. And that's not true. And the truth is that nothing we see outside of us is real. It's all this weird illusion. But I'm gonna close it down here, you guys. Do you guys ever get this? I've been getting it the last few days with the energy shifting, i.e., the tides are turning, and I'm facing my old patterns and having a complete opposite thing manifest in my reality, which is amazing. Because I did a little share about abuse yesterday, and then I ended up taking it down because I was like, I'm so not being abused anymore. But my patterning that I'm facing is going like, "Argh!" Like, don't you dare abuse me. Like, I am not gonna stand for this, even though I'm not freaking out like that in the present, but I'm having that emotional freak out. And then in the present, i.e., awakening from the dream state, that's not happening. People are manipulating me, using me, or blah, 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 blah. They're just literally, yeah, golden heart for rizzles. And like now I'm realizing I can process any emotional reactivity, come to my center, communicate with compassion, love, and integrity. And oh my geez, I'm being received. I'm being met. I'm being heard. I'm being allowed. I'm being loved. I'm being accepted, and those things. And I'm like, i.e., this is actually positivity here, the reflection of the fact that it is working. Like suddenly we're not getting persecuted by our community, we're being loved and accepted. And so that to me is the tidal turn. There's a massive shift. We're facing those energies down. We might still have to deal with the actual emotional storm, but the responses and the physical outcomes are completely different from what they used to be. That's what I'm experiencing anyway. Reality manifests after us. Yeah, I feel that. The authentic unity self, right? Hi Jennifer, how are you, my friend? LOL, I said, fuck it, made it JFK. Hi, Alan. For some reason, I'm getting a moment of there's a I can't sleep. If that's like a recurring thing, I'm trying to think. For some reason, I'm hearing 5-HTP. Is 5-HTP something for sleep? I thought it was a mood stabilizer, like an antidepressant, but there you have it. Anywho, you guys, I think that's it for me. Was there something else I was talking about that I didn't mention? Unplug for freedom. I can feel a lot of us being guided to the land. There's going to be pockets of land in the UK. There's going to be more of you in the United States also guided to land. I'm getting downloads as far as how I'm meant to even pinpoint where the land is because I know it's here. And then also I'm connecting with friends in Cornwall because you guys know that I'm kind of up for plant medicine ceremony and stuff. So not ayahuasca because I'm not called, like I've done it, but I'm not called to that, if that makes sense. But certainly cannabis and mushrooms in microdoses. Um, and a pure healing. It's just all pure healing intention. It's not about getting spacked out unconscious. It's about using food or plant or whatever as a form of integral medicine to help us like remember. And that's something that I experienced with the microdose mushroom experience. It's like it's undeniable in that experience. I'm like, oh my god, it's all connected. I can because it's like you can feel it. You can feel and see the connection. You can see you can feel and see the trees breathing. You can feel the spongy nature of like what we think is this hard flesh. Oh look, sparkles, sparkles. And yeah, mushroom knowledge, it comes through us. So we get these insights as far as like um yeah, I had this really cool moment where I realized that the tea was a more atmospheric experience, i.e., more akin to microdosing. And when you actually ingest the plant, you start to get a more dynamic, i.e., more spongy, like more heightened type of experience because you're eating the actual density. You're eating the plant itself. So there's a kind of a different. And then the medicine man that I was with, that's when he was like, "Whoa, you're the words you use. You're like a gifted speaker." He was having that because he being the medicine man who knew mushrooms really well when I'm just like meditating and breathing and then randomly saying stuff out loud. And then he would be like, "Oh, like you're saying exactly what I'm experiencing right now." And I'll just be like, I know, I don't know how I'm saying it. Because I literally have done mushrooms probably like a small handful of times up and then this random encounter with the modern medicine shaman man. And then I'm like sitting drinking tea. It's very bizarre. Anyhow, fifth world, exactly. I think every bit is different and how you just like anything obviously if you smoke and then different cannabis strands are different, right? And then if you eat it it's different than if you smoke it, than if you um I don't know what all the other types of things, vapor vapes and this, you know what I mean? Ah, fifth world. Fifth world is just reminding me that I mentioned this before it actually dropped into my reality. Girlfriend, thanks for the reminder. I, yeah, and I sometimes we forget, right? And now the land stuff, whether it's all to love land or and I do intend that. I just am still sitting with my own ability to receive. But I appreciate I appreciate being reminded, girl, you just talked about that like a week ago. I'm like, damn. Oh my god, it did. And I mean, a lot of us talk about plant medicine anyway, and we're advocates in a certain way. Those of you who are in the United States and right and or in Canada, you know that like you can just buy it. It's just still I feel like the UK is sort of waiting for a little bit of direction and or allowing the direction to come from within. There's a lot of earth work to be done here. And future forward, I do see Ultra Love having these two different retreats. The prices will continue to come down and or always to work with you guys. I tend to co-host. I'm not co-hosting with anybody on in France, but I tend to go co-host. So Clear Vibrations and I are intending to co-host 2 retreats a year together. And then in the summertime, as much as I and Team Love go to festivals to do yoga and talks and stuff, I have a feeling that I might end up having some kind of vegan food business, and that um, yeah, going to festivals to do the food, but then also um, have a festival for the Good Vibes Co., which is a little kind of company brand I have here, but it's we haven't been working it, so have little mini festivals, but I would probably say they would be intentional festivals, like no more than maybe 50 or 100 people for a very small price of just camping. And then we provide the vegan food is all there for everybody. And like I would obviously do the yoga. I imagine there being like a little makeshift sweat lodge slash sauna and kind of like rustic luxury as it were on the land, and then having ceremony, whether mushroom or cannabis or whatever, so like a kind of a hippie party but with an intention to heal. Woo! Woo! Yeah, and this is what I mean though about like us all being able to connect, is that I feel like all the stuff I talk about is just so that so that we can all just hang out, and not that's part of the living in the hobbit world, is that we become the Middle Earth. That's our way now. We grow food, hang out, we party, we celebrate. There's a lot of work to be done, but that's pretty much inherent in our beingness. It's like most of us, it's not like I'm like forcing myself to wake up at 1 in the morning so that I can do my live share on YouTube. I do this out of joy. I don't know if you noticed. Like I do this because I want to be here. I have a desire to show up and share from my heart. It releases stuff. It releases stuff from inside the self. Otherwise, it feels like a disservice to humanity if I'm just stealing all these thoughts for my greedy self instead of sharing what I know to be true in my heart, right? Ha! I cooked chicken wraps at Grateful Dead. Amazing. Well, and this is it. If Andy and I, my potential biz partner for the food stuff, if we end up going to different festivals in the UK, I'll for sure be asking y'all to come around, right? I know, soul family. This is the thing. At least we've connected in the ethereal, i.e., internet, and now the webs are like grids are kind of filling in. I can feel it filling in much quicker because I'm feeling a much more grounded and anchored stability. And this is what I mean about like facing old patterns, but having a radically different outcome than ever before. And I'm like, oh my God, the manipulation is over. Holy shit, I'm not in abusive situations anymore. People don't want to steal from me. Fantastic. Uh-huh. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. So cool, right? New technology around farming and learning a lot more about it and just a much slower and peaceful way of life, but doesn't mean boring. It just means a little bit more effective and less laborious workforce. So we anchor out of that debt-based economy of labor and enslavement, move to the resource-based economy of creative flow and greater support structure and harmony, which again aligns itself with the ebb and flow and the natural cycles of the planet. We, the being in alignment with the being of Earth, we just have to recalibrate, i.e., relax and heal, so that we can recalibrate and attune to her core frequency, which, of course, that movement toward alignment is what's healing our dark heart. It's healing our disconnection. Um, which is part of the insanity of the world that we're going, what the fuck? Why would we do that? Um, who knows? Progress, who knows? But either way, we're now more and more of us aware, like that is kind of really messy and not serving us or nobody. So we'll align, get back to the truth and navigate the world from that place. And just remember to not feed the fearful stories and instead just be real here now. It's glorious. So I think that's it, my friends. I love you guys loads. It's nice to be here. Always a pleasure seeing you guys. Mega appreciation across the niche. Much laters. Don't forget to subscribe and go to altalove.com. Do all the business stuff as well. I love you guys so much. Hot love vibration. Ah, that's good, Fifth. Feeling really clear today. That's it. That's really fantastic. I think that we can take that because that's us moving out of these fog energies and a little bit out of the kind of density of like, yeah, what is life? But we're here for one another. Some days we're clear, some days we're a little foggy, but I think we're definitely moving along quite nicely. Thanks you guys so much for being here. Sending you mega hug. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Virtual hugs and mega abundant prosperity, you guys. Enjoy yourselves. I'll speak to you soon. Peace out.